Thank you for the lengthy introduction. I hope you can hear me, all of you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
sir,
we
we
can
can
hear.
hear. You're audible.
Good. So, first of all, a very good morning to everyone. I would like to register my special thanks to the management of Sree Ayyappa College, principal, the head of department, especially to Professor Janata, who invited me for this webinar. Thanks to one and all for giving me this opportunity. And the topic is really interesting because there is a saying, publish or perish. As we are all in the field of higher education, publishing is the most important singular activity that all of us should focus on. And when we focus on publication, quite a few things we should keep in mind. First of all, the research we do. Secondly, the kind of journal in which we want to publish our journal. So broadly, in a general way, I'll be talking about these two aspects of research and publication, because most of the scholars and the teachers, if they want to make a name, if they want to be known, they should publish. That is, this dictum is there even when we were students, publish or perish. So publishing your research articles in good journals is very important. Now, first of all, we should know how to write the research articles. I'm going to talk in a very general way about some simple tips, because you have a number of resource persons dealing at length about the different aspects of research writing. So basically about research writing, and it has become a very highly specialized field. A few things which would be helpful to you in a general way, I will talk about that first. How should a research article be? 2 or 3 tips are this. It should be, the writers should be very clear in their explanations, their reasoning, direct in their communication, and most importantly, they should be able to make the readers understand their topic and the thesis. Critical thinking and reasoning skills, and the ability to move from one idea to the next in a logical, structured manner is the essence of any research writing. So in a broad way, I will just talk about a few important aspects. I'm not going to deal in length with the quality of research writing. First of all, when you think of a research topic, when you want to write an article about anything, should have a very clear idea. The research paper should address a specific research question. So in my experience as a teacher, as a researcher, I have always found that articles which are accepted for publication, they are very structured. And of course, you say in science and other subjects, something new should be there in your paper. So first, quality, any research for that matter, whether it is science or engineering, medical research, arts, humanities, or social sciences, the research question should be clear. It should be specific. I'm not going to elaborate on this. So any particular aspect, clarity is the number one requirement of a research paper. It should address a specific question. In medical or engineering research, this is quite easy. That's why when I joined Dhofar University, they asked me, how many papers you have published in Scopus Indexed or Web of Science? I'll be explaining a little bit about that later. I was really surprised to hear that. In India, you talk about UGC approved journals or peer reviewed journals. So we will see some of these aspects once I finish quickly with this research paper. So the first quality is it should address a specific research question. Now, second, if it is a research question, you should ask yourself, what is a good research question? What are its attributes? Few things, again, I will go quickly because I don't want to take up your time. There will be experts talking on each aspect. So a good research question is specificity, originality, or novelty. And it should have general reference, but it should be interesting for the particular group of people. That's why when we talk about a research article, you give focus for peer-reviewed journal. So it should be interesting to that particular community, where if it is science or if it is humanities, it should interest that particular community. So specificity, originality, and general relevance. 3 points you can keep in mind. And if it is in science, it should break a completely new ground. It should say something new. For example, now COVID is COVID-19, the pandemic. When you do research on that, at least you should have specifically something new to say. So breaking a new ground, at least it should extend the previous knowledge. If you cannot give anything completely new, it should add to the existing knowledge. Or it can also refute the existing knowledge. So this is called real research. A good research question has these two qualities. It should break, it should give something new, or it should refuse existing knowledge. Secondly, it should be specific and original. And most importantly, the structure of the paper. When you write a research paper, the structure is the most important aspect. If you send your article, research article, research writing to any good journal, they have a particular criteria to assess it. First of all, they look at the structure of your paper, whether it is about any topic, scientific paper, humanities or social science, or very specific like engineering or medicine. The structure of the paper is very, very important. Generally, there are 5 elements in the structure. I'll just quickly go through because my time allotted is 15 to 20 minutes. So let me quickly touch upon these few aspects, the structure of your paper. Of course, you should have an introduction. That's a style of any writing for that matter. It should be always brief. What are you supposed to write in your introduction? Why the problem you address is important. This should be mentioned clearly. What is lacking in the current knowledge? And the objective of your study. So 3 things should be clearly mentioned in the introductory part of your research, whether it is science or engineering or medicine or social sciences. This should be very clear. Clarity is very important in research writing. You are not just saying anything to impress people, but it should be clear, it should be specific. So introduction is a brief part. It should have at least these 3 points. We come to methodology. Most of the research is scientific. You should have a method. In Hamlet, we come across the saying, though this be madness, and there is method in it. So every research should have a method. So second heading or second section, main section should be your methods of research. In the methods, you have to describe the context, the setting of the study, specific study design. How are you going to deal with the topic? Describe the population. It's mainly about the medical research we talk about. So patients, doctors, hospital. If it is humanities, you have to explore the context clearly and specifically. Then sampling, because all research is based on sampling or study of something. You study about even a novel or writing of an author. You should have a method, and sampling is there. You support your point with illustrations, examples. So this is mainly about medical engineering subjects. So sampling is very important in the methods. Okay, describe the intervention if applicable. Identify the main study variables. So it's really a scientific aspect. That's why when we talk in our university, professors from humanities and social science stream, they cannot or they don't publish many articles in Scopus industry journals. because they follow this strict pattern and describe data collection, instruments and procedure, and finally the outline analysis method, how you analyze the data. So methods should be very specific, even if it's a research on our English language, humanities, or social science, you should have a clear frame of methods. What's the methodology you are using? Of course, then the next section is analyzing the data and arriving at a result. This is your finding. Report on data collection and responses. You have to do a survey, because first time when I presented a paper at Muscat SQU, they were asking what's the methodology, what's the result, because any study, even language writing, reading, any study related to English language, this data analysis is very important. Without data, you cannot substantiate your results. Okay, then you have to, in the result, key findings. This also should be very clear, very specific, and present the secondary findings. So results can be categorized like this: data analysis, clear results, secondary results. And finally, a discussion chapter. It is elaborating your results. And of course, the last part is conclusion. I hope I'm not exceeding my time. It's not boring. So the very broad outline of a good research paper. I hope I have touched upon all the aspects. You'll be listening to experts from the field talking elaborately on these various aspects. So let me just repeat these points: introduction, methodology, result, discussion, and conclusion. It should be any research which you do should be within this clear framework, whether it is medical research, engineering, or even humanities or social science. The framework or the structure is very important. So if you are satisfied with your research paper, then the next step is to find a proper journal to publish your articles. I have published initially in some of my articles in some of the journals. I was not aware of these different types of journals at that time. When I came in contact with people who published their research in standard journals, I thought of studying about these journals. And before you send an article, you should see what type of articles are there. Will your article get accepted by these people? So quite a few things I will quickly touch upon. Finding out proper journal for your publication, to publish your writing. So they ask about the indexed journal first, indexed and non-indexed journals. In India, I believe UGC approved journals are there. I'm not much aware of that. They have a list. In our university, they always insist maximum point, because we have every year academic evaluation. So they look at 60% of mark is allotted for research activity and 40% only for teaching activity. So our focus is on research. So they say if you have published an article in Scopus indexed journals or Web of Science, these are the two top indexed type of journals, you get 2 points. Otherwise, 1 and some of the list they have given. If you publish in any other journals, you are not going to get any points. So what is this Scopus indexed or Web of Science journals? These two are the largest database. For example, Web of Science is Thomson Reuters Web of Science. We say that, WOS. It has got 13,605 journals and a large data collection, and they have very scientific method of evaluating these articles. Scopus also similarly has 20,000, more than 20,000 journals. This is by Elsevier, the publisher, Dutch publisher. So again, these two databases, they follow very rigorous methods. So then we talk about impact factor of a journal, how often it is cited. So for us now, our aim, any good researcher wants to get published his work either in a Scopus indexed journal or Web of Science journal. The next is indexed journals. Usually when we want to find out any research article, we go to the URL or the web address. But the good articles, good journals, they have a DOI. Is the journal has a DOI? They ask. DOI is Digital Object Identifier. So what is DOI actually? You are not going to a location, but you are going to the content directly, the article directly. Sometimes, when you search in web, you come across the website is no longer valid or it is not available. So DOI means you can definitely go to that article because that is a link where you are taken directly to the content material. It's an identifier. It remains associated with the object irrespective of changes in the object's web address. So first, Scopus indexed or Web of Science. Second, journals or articles with the DOI you can check. So there are a number of journals like this. In India you have it easy because UGC has identified journals which can be used at the national level. Because when I studied about this indexing of journals, English language gets an undue advantage compared to other languages because these are indexed in Scopus or Web of Science, and a large number of journals are there. But for other languages, you don't find Scopus indexed journals. So once you are, you know how to write a proper research paper. Secondly, you look for a proper journal which is valid, which can help you to advance your career, your job, your research skills. So journals are very important. Identifying proper journals. We have like ISI, SCI, all these are highly indexed journals. So citation factor is the most important thing. When you write an article, how many people have cited from this article? That means it's an indication. So they give this impact factor for journals based on the citation, and there are so many other criteria. I hope my time is up. Thank you for this wonderful session. Hope you will have a fruitful session. Once again, I register my special thanks to Sree, the management of Sree Ayyappa College, the principal, the head of the department, all the teachers, and especially to Professor Jenda. Once again, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to Sree Ayyappa College principal, the head of the department, and also the organizing secretaries, Dr. Janada and Dr. Shiba, for this opportunity to interact with a wide range of academicians. As we are all very well aware, we are in this context of the coronavirus, which has affected people globally, some more severely than the others. And it also seems to have spawned this new age of webinars, where we have this opportunity of discussing and sharing knowledge with people from far-flung places. So this is the first time that I am delivering a kind of a talk in this online mode, though I have participated before. So if there are any drawbacks or shortcomings, please excuse that. I think I'll just start sharing my PPT at this moment. First of all, let me say that this is a very relevant topic that the organizers have chosen because it concerns, research and what really constitutes research with regard to how you present that research in a written manner. So, academic research and writing skills is very vital at this stage, I would feel. But for the last maybe 2 decades or so, the word communication has been bandied about left, right, and center, especially I would say in engineering colleges, because somehow they feel that English means communication and nothing else. But we all know that communication and communication skills are nothing new. And I would say that it they would have probably been there right from the time of human evolution. To just look at what the word actually means, just the basic dictionary meaning, conveying, exchanging, or transmitting ideas or information. This is just a very maybe even crude kind of definition of what communication is. And we also know that in addition to that, it involves these four skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, what we call as LSRW skills. And while teaching as well as while practicing, we focus on listening attentively or speaking eloquently, reading in a focused manner, and also writing elegantly. But I'm sure we are all aware that all these things, when we communicate, either in whatever mode we communicate, they go into constituting meaning, and how that meaning gets transmitted from one person to the other, from the sender to the receiver. And it is imperative that the meaning that we have in mind is understood in exactly the same way by the person who receives our message, our ideas. And that is where I would like to focus on in this presentation. Before that, I would just like to show you an example, just to this is what we already know about it, but just to emphasize that communication does not really exist in a vacuum. There are contexts there, and what is it that we are intending to say or write, and do people understand it in exactly the same manner? So communication does not exist in a vacuum. I'd like to give you a small sentence, and maybe somebody can respond as to what it really means. You must have come across this sentence: Mary had a little lamb. What does it actually mean? Maybe you can even type in the chat box. I can see Mary has a lamb which is small. Mary has a lamb as a pet. Once she had a lamb. Okay. This is one of the, I would say, the drawbacks of this online thing, where I cannot really interact with you like how I would have really liked to. You do know that this is the line from a nursery rhyme. Mary had a little lamb which followed her everywhere. So people who are aware of that nursery rhyme might connect this with that. People who have not heard that nursery rhyme may connect something else. So one line itself can have different meanings. Like if I ask you, what did you have for breakfast? You may have different answers. You may say that you had dosa or upma, or chapati. You may have different answers to that. Likewise, we can also say that Mary had a little lamb. Okay? Mary had a lamb for breakfast. Okay, so that can be one meaning in addition to the ones that you have already typed, or there may be married participants listening to this. So if I ask you about whether you have children, you may say I have a daughter, or I have a son, or I have two daughters, something like that. So in that way, Mary had a little lamb. The name Mary could be the name of a goat, okay, who had a little lamb, an offspring. And since it is written here, Mary had a little lamb. Suppose if without writing, I was just, speaking this line, saying that Mary had a little lamb. Uh, some people at least might feel that it's not Mary had a little lamb, Lamb, but a little lamb, Lamp. So that can also be, taken as a meaning by some people. So now you see one small sentence itself having a wide variety of meanings, which different receivers might have. Now this is a major problem as far as writing is concerned, and we as researchers, as authors, we give a lot of importance to our content as such. We do a lot of hard work, and we write a research paper or project report or a dissertation, and the sole focus is on our ideas, our content, the actual subject matter that we have written. And we often don't give much importance to how exactly it is presented. And this is a problem that causes papers to be rejected, chapters of thesis to be rewritten again and again, because the ideas are not being expressed in a manner which the teacher or the reviewer or any reader finds difficult to understand. So I would like to share with you some responses from reviewers. Okay, these are from real responses to research papers cutting across disciplines, and they have identified. I have just two or three, just to give you an idea of what reviewers feel about how ideas are presented, especially with regard to English language. Look at this sentence. Now here the reviewer says that only towards the end of the sentence he understands what the authors are really trying to say. So the authors, he says that the various components of the sentence should be rearranged so that the reader understands things quicker. That is one complaint that the reviewers have. In the second one, you see this reviewer is worried about the lack of clarity and also the haphazard kind of presentation. And he's suggesting that the whole paper has to be restructured. Okay, things are not very clear. And one more. This is more a general kind of response, where he says that your English does not meet our standard. Again, this reviewer also talks about clarity. Now, this is an issue because, as I said, we focus more on the content, and how we present that content is not given much importance. And we are talking about writing here, unlike, say, speaking. Now, in a conversation, you can always, give clarifications. You can respond immediately. If the person doesn't understand, you can say, no, that's not what I meant. This is what I really meant. Please understand that. Something of the kind you can always do. However, in writing, especially in formal writing, even if it is a letter or an email or anything, any kind of formal writing, once you send it, you are not physically present with the receiver when he or she receives it, and then you cannot offer your clarifications and suggestions and point out your errors. No, this is not how it should be read. No, you please see this part first. So all these kind of things cannot be done once the manuscript is sent. So before that itself, the writing has to be made perfect so that you are given credit for the content, the ideas that you are trying to present. So I would just very quickly, focus on maybe 3 or 4 aspects here. I'm not going to talk about the research paper or project dissertation in totality as such. Rather, I would focus on paragraphs and sentences. What should go into writing a sentence which is really clear, and how through that we can make our writing effective. And I'll also talk about these things, keeping in mind the way native speakers of English prefer how paragraphs and sentences should be structured. So I'll keep that in mind. And initially itself, Dr. Janada had said that we are learning, relearning, and maybe even unlearning. Probably the things that I talk about are things that you already know, so it's a kind of relearning. But what is important is how we apply these things when we write, and how we can teach our students about these kinds of things. So 3 or 4 aspects of grammar, maybe with regard to sentence structures and how they can be effectively presented, and maybe 2, 3 aspects related to meaning, and how meaning can be communicated effectively in the written mode. Okay, so to begin with, we all have been taught, and we also teach how a paragraph should really be structured. We talk about you know uh, the introduction, the body, and the conclusion, and that's how we teach also, I think, in class. And basically that's how the paragraph also should be. Now, when you look at a research paper, Dr. Thomas had spoken about the general structure of a research paper. It starts with the title, then it will have the names of the author or authors and their affiliations, an abstract, an introduction, and the body and the different parts of the body, the discussion, the conclusion, and so on and so forth. Now, it is better if the paragraph is also like a microcosm of your overall paper. So just like how you have a title for your paper, maybe you can have a title for your paragraph also, except that you don't write it in the form of a title. It can be a topic sentence. Okay, so this sentence will tell the reader what this paragraph is all about. So this functions like a title. And then, like what we have already been learning, the body of the paragraph, okay, the sentences which go on to complement the topic sentence, okay, and discuss more about it, adding on to what the topic sentence stated right at the beginning of the paragraph. And then the conclusion, again re-emphasizing what the paragraph was all about. It may appear to be very simple, even when we teach, it is like that. But you should remember that a research paper does not constitute just one paragraph. There are several paragraphs. I'd like to just give you a small example of a paragraph like this. Maybe you can take a minute to just read it, okay, quickly. I'll show the slide once again, in sentence and point format. This is the same paragraph. Now it is stated in the form of sentences, and there are 6 sentences here. And based on what we stated earlier, the first sentence, different writers have different methods of organizing their reports. Some seem to have no discernible method at all. This can be taken as the topic sentence, where writers, different writers and their methods of organizing reports. That can be taken as the topic sentence. Now, when you go to the second sentence there. Uh, there are some differences. For one, you find one particular word getting repeated, and that is the word writers. So in the second sentence, the author is moving from the general to the specific. He's saying that he stated different writers. Now he's talking about the better writers. And he is also adding a link word, however. Most of the better writers, however, appear to be in agreement as to the general approach to organization. Now, going to the third sentence, again you find a word getting repeated, and that is the word approach. So now he is explaining what he meant by general approach. So it's like a step-by-step guidance given to the reader. Now, what is this general approach that he is uh, very briefly explaining, stating the problem, describing the method, developing results, all those things. And then in the fourth sentence, this is the first time that the author is now directly addressing the reader by using the pronoun you. And you may feel that this type of organization is obvious, logical, and natural. He is also kind of anticipating some kind of objection from the reader. The fifth sentence, nevertheless, it's not universally accepted, is the shortest sentence in this whole paragraph. And again, you find another link word, nevertheless. And by putting that link word right in the beginning, the author is trying to capture the attention of the reader. And the last sentence, you can take, already the word conclusion is there, but even otherwise it can be seen as a concluding sentence to that paragraph. Many writers present results, conclusions near the beginning, describe derivations in the other sections. Here also the author uses another link word called for example. So all these link words are words which draw the attention of the readers, and they also kind of guide the readers towards being aware of the author's train of thought. How is the author moving about in discussing certain points that he has? Now, reading this paragraph, we may feel this is about writing and how writing needs to be done. We may feel that this is written by somebody, maybe a language expert, or someone like that, maybe a teacher trainer or something. But no, actually it is written by a person. He's a scientist called Sam Katzoff, and it was written. I actually have. It's a very small booklet, maybe 25 pages or something. It's called Clarity in Reporting. I have it with you. I can share it with the organizers, and then they can share it with the rest of the participants. This report was written by this scientist called Sam Katzoff, who was a scientist at NASA in America, and written specifically for the NASA scientists who they felt were not writing, or not able to communicate properly in a written manner, and how they can do it better. And that's why he wrote this small booklet. As I said, I can share that with you. So this gives us an idea of the structure of how a paragraph generally should be. As I said, it will be ideal if it is like a microcosm of your whole research paper as such. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is this basic word order. This basic word order is something that is specific to all languages. And in different languages, this basic word order might undergo changes. So what we have in our mother tongue may not be the same in some other language. In English, native speakers, always seem to follow better when a writer, implements this basic word order while writing. And normally, since we are teachers of the English discipline, we also generally follow it. But sometimes when sentences become long, there can be problems. Please look at this example. The researchers send their paper to the journal. Now, when we dissect this sentence with regard to the grammatical elements, you have researchers as the subject, sent as the verb, their paper the direct object, and the journal is the indirect object. So this is fine. But as I said, sometimes when the sentence becomes a little longer, or when there are other kinds of words, or other ideas which we would want to present in the same sentence, then the basic word order changes, and that creates problems for native speakers. So this is another sentence where you have some additional words coming in, like last week and for the second time. So this sentence also makes sense. The researchers last week sent for the second time to the journal their paper. Okay? But this is problematic to a native speaker because the word order has now undergone some changes. You have words in between the subject and the verb, and between the direct object and the indirect object, and these create problems for readers. Maybe if it is just one sentence, um, they can adjust. But if you have a series of sentences like this, it affects readability. So this would be better where the basic word order is maintained. Last week, the researchers sent their paper to the journal for the second time. So as we write, if we keep the basic word order in mind, this can make our writing more effective as far as the reader is concerned. Another thing that we need to keep in mind, and this will vary from writer to writer. Okay, what is the subject that you are giving importance to? It's all with regard to the same meaning. You have four sentences here. There is not much difference in the meaning as such. The only thing is that the subject has undergone changes as far as the sentences are concerned. First, you have researchers in physics, that is the subject. The second sentence, physics is the subject. Then velocity is the subject in the third sentence, and X is the subject in the last one. Now, as far as the author is concerned, he or she really has to decide as to what is relevant for them. Are they focusing on researchers in physics, or are they talking about physics as a discipline, or is it about the concept of velocity, or is it this new feature called X? What is your, most relevant subject? It is important that you put your most relevant subject right at the beginning of a sentence, because studies have shown that readers pay more attention at the beginning of each sentence. And not only that, when we take a paragraph as such, you have white spaces between the sentences, between a full stop and the next sentence. There are white pauses. It seems that our eyes look out for these white pauses because they give the eyes a temporary kind of a rest. And then when we start, the first word or the first 2-3 words are what readers generally give more attention to. Again, readers, it seems, give more attention to capital letters, and generally capital letters come in the beginning. So it's important that you put your most relevant subject right in the beginning of a sentence. Again, with regard to the subject, the structure, um, it's always better that your subject comes before the main verb. Now, when you look at this sentence, important parameters of this job are accuracy and conciseness. Now, it's implied that accuracy and conciseness are the two words which you want to emphasize. And therefore, it is always better if those words come in the beginning. Again, this is something that readers in general, especially native speakers, give importance to. And even otherwise, it is always better to state what something is before actually going on to describe it. So the subject, your most relevant subject, should come before the verb as such. Then this is another thing which affects readability. The proximity of the subject and the verb. How close is the subject to the verb? The relevant subject that you have chosen and its proximity to the verb. If there are other things which come in between these two, they can again affect the readability. Now, you have a sentence like this, okay, where candidates are generally employed by good companies. Candidates, and what kind of candidates, those features are given immediately after the word. But the verb is coming towards the end of the sentence. It's always better if the subject, the main subject, and the verb are close to each other as far as possible. So this sentence can be rewritten like this, where good companies generally employ candidates. Now the subject and the verb are close to each other. But again, now the problem here is that your most relevant subject has changed. In the first sentence, candidates was your most relevant subject. That's why you put it in the beginning. But now good companies have become the most relevant subject. Now, if you still want to maintain that, then maybe you need to, the sentence needs to undergo some changes without really affecting the meaning as such. So here, candidates with a high rate of intelligence are generally employed by good companies. And then you have another sentence which talk about the other features. What you need to keep in mind is the proximity. If there are many things which come in between your most relevant subject and the main verb, that is something again which can affect the readability, and the reader or readers may lose track of what exactly you were really trying to state as such. So next, I would like to talk about, as I said, 2 or 3 things which affect meaning, and sometimes they delay meaning and makes reading, a complicated kind of an affair. To begin with, this word ambiguity, and the dictionary meaning is also given there, especially with regard to language. It means giving or having more than one interpretation. So the meaning, it's not just one obvious meaning. There are more than one meanings. Now, especially for literature people and people who are involved in reading and teaching and doing research on poems, plays, novels, we always talk about multiple layers of meaning. And a writing, we consider a writing to be really rich and complex if it doesn't really point towards a unilateral kind of meaning. That there should be multiple layers of meaning. That is fine. Okay, with regard to creative writing, it is okay. But when we analyze that, we need to really focus on our stance, our argument, what is our hypothesis as far as the analysis of certain text is concerned. We cannot really be ambiguous as a researcher. But knowingly or unknowingly, very often in our writing, these kind of problems come in. Okay? You can look at this cartoon, this is a popular cartoon strip. Okay? There are 2 children there, where the girl goes and you calling Joey, and then he says, no, I don't want to talk to you. I'm a loner. But this word is what both of them are talking about, where one person says, I am a loner, and then what is it, is what the boy is asking. And then the girl says, no, this is it. It's what they give daddy when his car's in the shop. And then he says, no, not a loner, a loner. Again, the pronunciation is the same. And then the girl says, who would want to take you as a loan? So for the boy, the word loner means somebody, not somebody who's lonely, but somebody who wants to be alone. Don't disturb me. I want to be by myself. I want to be alone. Okay, I'm a loner. But for the girl, it is like, a loan, taking a loan, a vehicle loan or a home loan, things that we are familiar with. And then he says, no, I'm not that loan. I am a loner. Then she says, who would want to take you as a loan? So the same word having different meanings, and the same thing applies to sentences also. These are some instances where we do a lot of activities with the participants. But here I have just maybe a couple of sentences where you can see what they actually mean. Uh, Students like annoying teachers. What could be the meaning here? And definitely there's more than one meaning. It could mean students like to annoy teachers, or it could mean students like teachers who have an annoying kind of a personality, or who are annoying by themselves as such. So if you write it like this, there are two meanings. So you need to be clear. What does annoying mean? So it's better to write students like to annoy teachers, or students like teachers who have an annoying personality or something of that kind. One more example I'll show. I spoke to the girl with a microphone. It could mean that I spoke to the girl by using a microphone, or I spoke to the girl who had a microphone in her hand. It was holding a microphone or something of that kind. So it's important that we avoid ambiguity while writing. The sentences should be really clear. Ambiguous words, sentences, they create confusion. You don't want to make the reader think about what exactly it is that you're trying to communicate, and therefore you need to be very clear in what you are trying to say. Another point, this again happens in literature, because we seem to give a lot of importance to writing a lot rather than being brief and precise. Redundancy, in the meaning is given there. Something that's no longer needed or useful, especially with regard to words, superfluous words, which if you omit those words, it doesn't make any difference to the overall meaning. We use a lot of such words. So it's one thing to use that in speech, but in writing, it creates several problems. I have a short paragraph here. Maybe you can just quickly read it. This paragraph consists of 89 words. Can you remove some words from this paragraph which will not affect its meaning? Maybe you can write the words which can be removed. Words which can be removed. Look at the next slide, where these words are removed as such. Some of you did mention it like this. Okay. From 89 words, now our paragraph has shrunk to 50 words. It means approximately half the number of words we have eliminated without the meaning being affected in any way whatsoever. So these kind of words, especially as I said, in literature, in the field of humanities, since the focus seems to be on writing more, uh, these kind of issues creep in, but they create problems for the reader. What are the problems caused by redundancy? Okay. For one, you have a lot of repetition. You repeat words again and again, even if it's not a very straightforward kind of repetition, they still create problems for the reader. It makes reading very monotonous or dull, boring, because nothing is added as far as the meaning is concerned with the addition of a few words as such, and makes understanding also problematic because you have more number of words, and things are being made complicated by the writer for the reader. So if you can state the same kind of meaning with less number of words or sentences, that would definitely be more effective. And this is just one paragraph that we read. Now just imagine in a research paper or in a project report or a dissertation, you have many paragraphs like this. It would definitely be an unnecessary waste of time because you are focusing more on enlarging the size of your dissertation or your paper rather than making any improvement or addition as far as the meaning of your ideas are concerned. So redundancy is something that we need to take care of. One more factor which I would just like to bring to your attention again, especially with regard to literature teachers, the length of the sentence. How long or how short should be our sentence? Again, that is something subjective, and as a writer, you need to look at what is really effective for you. I have an example here. Uh, this is one sentence which is going to more than 10 lines, and I'm sure you have seen this sentence. You must be familiar with this sentence. It is from Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. Again, as I said earlier, creative writing, probably this is fine. But in formal writing, writing a dissertation or writing a research paper, a project report, you don't want to have very long sentences, long or short sentences. This is what we need to really decide. Now, this is the, if you read it, you will understand that this is the introductory paragraph of a research paper. But it is a long sentence. Okay, it is going up to 6 lines or a little more than that. But definitely it can be written better number of the size, and maybe increase the number of sentences. Now this is how it was rewritten. How we speak and write generally reflects the way we think and act, and then it goes on to talk about what it is trying to do. So you had one long sentence, and the reader really needs to focus, concentrate in an extreme manner there. Here now with 3 sentences, it is much easier to follow what the author is trying to do in this paper. Seeing the slide alone, I think I've lost track of time. I don't know whether I have exceeded or I've come short. I think it's okay. And these were some of the things which I just wanted to share with you. Some aspects of grammar, and also things which affect our writing with regard to the meaning and how the meaning gets delayed sometimes. Often reviewers, they have many papers which they need to read. So the way we write should be effective enough that our ideas are understood clearly by the reader. So before concluding, that is what I would just like to bring to your attention. We are not just writers; we are also readers. and also the listeners and speakers, no doubt. But when we write, as I said in the beginning, we tend to focus more on the content, the actual subject matter, the ideas that we have. Our thrust is on that. That is fine, but we need to put it across in an effective manner for the readers to really understand what we are saying. So it is always better that as we structure our paper or a report or whatever it is, uh, if we think about the reader, or if we think ourselves as the readers, it would go a long way in making our writing effective. So what kind of sentences would you like to read? Okay, when you get a reading material, okay, or a paper, how would you like those sentences, those paragraphs to be? Okay, so readers prefer sentences that they only need to read once. Okay, by the first reading, if they can understand the sentence, well and good. There's a book called The Effective Communicator by John Adair, where he talks about a survey that he had conducted, especially with regard to the length of the sentence, and they found that nearly 90% of the people who took the survey, they were able to understand an 8 to 10 word sentence the first time they read it. But when the sentence size increased to, say, 25 words or more, only 4% were able to understand that. So if the sentences are, short, appropriately short, not very long, readers understand it quicker, so that they don't have to, go back to it again and again. So this is one thing which they like. They don't have to read slowly because all the sentences require extremely intense concentration. If you have to read each and every sentence, there may be some sentences, especially sentences which talk about new ideas, new information, we can go slow there. But imagine having to read the entire paper in a very slow manner because you have to focus a lot. Again, that can affect your reading. And this is what one of the reviewers stated in the earlier slides. Something that you can understand what the author is trying to say. Okay, the author's logic. You're able to catch that logic immediately rather than understanding it only towards the end of the sentence. So I think if we think like readers and structure our writing in such a way that a reader follows it in a faster manner, in a better manner, it would make our writing much more effective. As I said earlier in the beginning, I don't know whether I said anything which is new to you. Perhaps you already know all these things, but the actual challenge lies in applying these things as we write and ensure that we follow some of these things in a better manner when we write, so that our writing can be effective. And it can also help us because we will teach our students also to write in an effective manner. So let me stop with that. These are some of the references that I looked up for this presentation. And that second one by Sam Katzoff, that booklet is there. I will pass it on to the organizers and they can give it to you. Let me once again thank the organizers for this opportunity to have this kind of an interaction in this webinar with all of you. Thank you very much.
The techniques of documentation. This is my topic, and first of all, I'm expressing that the main structure of a research paper. What is the structure of a research paper? When we are publishing an article, we need a structure. Without a structure, it is not we can't see it in a good form. Okay, so we need title and affiliations. Then second one, abstract and keywords. Third, introduction. Then literary review or research gap. Then major research question, hypothesis, methodology, findings and discussion, conclusion and references. These 10 elements we need in a research paper. So first one, title. Title must limit to 8 to 15 words and relevant to the subject. In a single phrase, it looks like a single phrase and corrected grammar and proper capitalization. We need a proper capitalization. Don't put all the words in don't put all in capitalized form. Okay, avoid abbreviations. Then the next one is affiliations. Affiliations, we must write our name after this title. So name and position of the authors and mail ID. Okay, don't put a doctor, professor like that, just name. And then for the affiliation, first author gets 70% credit and the other authors 30% credit. And then the next one is abstract. Abstract, there are 150 to 300 words we need in abstract. Importance and introduction with 1 to 2 sentences. Then method, on what you did, and result, on what you found. Implication of your research. These are the 4 points we need in abstract with 150 to 300 words limit. And keywords, it's 5 to 8 words. Keywords, we need 5 to 8 words. And for previously we are putting comma after keywords, isn't it? So now we want to put a semicolon after keywords. So that is the new format in MLA 8. And then body of a paper. Body of a paper must need 3,000 to 500 words. So introduction, in body of paper, first is introduction, introduces topic, approximately 500 words. The next one is literature review. Literary students must add literature review. Major research work reviewed, international and national, approximately 600 words. Then the next one is identification of research gap. It needs approximately 300 words. And the next one is objective of the proposed study, approximately 200 words. And the next one is major research question or hypothesis, approximately 200 words. And research methodology, approximately 600 words. Then next one, innovation, path-breaking aspects of the proposed paper. It's about 400 words. And relevance of the proposed study to the society, approximately 500 words. And milestones set for the study, findings and discussion, approximately 300 words. And conclusion, approximately 300 words. This is the structure of a paper, because we want to nearly 300 to 500 words. So we must incorporate all the things, all these elements in the body of paper. Then the next one, in the body of paper, we are adding quotations and paraphrasing. The main issues comes to this is we are paraphrasing or we are not index citation. Okay, we are not putting citation in paraphrasing. There are 2 ways to incorporate others' idea in your manuscript, and one is paraphrasing, one is quoting. And if you are paraphrasing or quoting, we must put in text citation. The next one is single phrases. If in a running quotation, that is means in running quotation, we must put this quotation. We start with a quotation mark and we will end quotation mark, then put index citation, then the citing number, and then the period. Okay. On author, one author or editor will this author's last name and page number, space page number. Then we will end it. Okay, then 2 authors means first and second authors last name and page number. So case and this is there in 57, the page number 57. Then 3 or more authors and editors. Okay, first author's name and et al, then on period and page number. Okay, so case et al dot page number 37. It's in MLA 8. Then quoting directly. We have 2 quoting the one is direct way and one is indirect way. And we are quoting from a book. So here a direct quote means we must put a parenthesis and put the name, last name and page number. Okay, and when we are paraphrasing, the same method we want to follow. And the period goes outside the bracket at the end of your in the in-text citation. At the end only you will put the period. And no non-authors. If no author is unknown, you must put the name of the book with the page number. And no page number is available. So you must just put the author's last name, then period. Okay, indirect sources or what quoted in another sources. If you are taking something from another sources, you must put qtd.in, quotation in DUR 188. Okay, if you are putting a quotation in, means you are taking the quotation from another sources. Okay, and in your works cited list, you only include a citation of the source you consulted, not the original source. Then repeated use of sources. We are using repeated use. You must add only page number. Not need of using that Smith or like that. But if you are using simplified in the text citation, creates ambiguity. Sometimes it is not feeling good, isn't it? If 14 number, 15 number like that, if in that case you can add the name, the last name of the author. In in-text citation for more than one sources, if you are taking the quotations from different books, so first you must put the first author's last name and the page number, then semicolon, then second author's not second author, the another book author, second name and page number. Okay, if the one author's name is not available, book is available means in text 2. And there is no page number 2. Okay, so index 2 with bro 43. Okay, so second author, second book's author's second name with page number, and first author is not there, so the book name, we are quoting the book name. Okay, and what is about a long quotation? If you want to put a long quotation, we must indent the quotation, and we must put the period after the quotation, after the regular quotation. We must long quotation, we must 0.5 inches from the rest of the text, so it looks like very attractive. Okay, so first when we are putting a 0.5 inches, we must indent. Then example for a big long quotation means if the quotation is 2-3 paragraph, then we must indent the first line of the second paragraph. If you need to quote 2 or more paragraph, indent the first line of each paragraph additional 1/4 inch. So we must quote additional 1 inch, additional 1/2 inch there. Okay, and then we are going to reference session MLA 8 format. Okay, we are reference session with the citations. Citation styles are APA, MLA, Chicago, Japan styles. Okay, there are different styles there. So APA format, American Psychological Association is APA, and MLA, Modern Language Association, and Chicago Turban styles used by Business, History, and Fine Arts. So we are using MLA, Modern Language Association style. So I think that you know about MLA style. In 1951, William Brayley Parker, an executive director of Modern Language Association, published the MLA style sheet. Okay, and it's contained 31 pages to standardize the research papers. It is revised in 1970. In 1977, first edition of MLA handbook published with 163 pages. In 1984, MLA style manual published for undergraduate students. In 1977, the first edition, and then the following years, 1984, 1995, 1999, 2003, 2009, and 2016. 2016, the 8th edition published. And the Associative Executive Director, Catherine, explains that as a refusal of emergence of each new media, because in this new generation there are proliferate of communications, isn't it? So Twitter, Facebook, then YouTube, like that. So we must cite these things too, isn't it, in our citation? If we are taking quotation, if we are taking things from, if you are taking valuable things, valuable quotations from, valuable points from these ideas from these YouTube, Facebook, like that, Twitter, like that, we must cite it. Okay, gathering information, we need this much information to cite our in reference session. We must need this much information. First one is, who is the author of the source? Second, what is the title of the source, and how was the source published, and where did you find the source, and when was the source published? We need these 5 answers for a documentation. For a documentation, we need these 5 aspects. So first, references. We need book references, isn't it? Author name, title, subtitle, publisher, date of publication, isn't it? Story, poem, or article in a book or in a periodical, author's name, journal's title, publication facts about the issue, title of the article, poem, and story. So, and works on the web, URL, the title, overall sites, the title of the source, publication date, and author's name. These things we need, isn't it? Book, story, poem, article, periodicals, like that. We need author's name, journal title, publication facts about the issue, title of the article, poem or story. And for the web, URL or DOI we need, isn't it? Core elements we need in MLA8 format: author, title of source, title of container, other contributors, version, number, publisher, and publishing date we need. Okay, and optional topic. When we are writing a research paper, 2 optional topic is there: acknowledgement and appendix. If we need, we must. If we are collecting if you are collecting materials from respondents, if you are collecting case study, if you are doing some case study, we need to acknowledge them. Okay, acknowledgement the respondents. And first one, how to document a book, a journal with single author in MLA8 format. Okay, you know MLA7 format, we will put print, isn't it? So MLA8 format, Brooke, second the second name of the author, comma, first name of the author, then period, language, then title of the work in italics, and from where it published. Okay, from where it published, and the date of publication and the year of publication. Okay, and index citation, we will write the last the name of the author and the page number. Okay, for a journal, just think the second name of the author, and then the first name of the author, then a period, then in inverters we are writing the title of the work, and the period inside the inverters. That is the thing we want to see, the period inside the inverter, and then the name of the journal, then volume, period, VOL, V in small letter, VOL, in, and the page number, then comma, the number. Previously we are using issue number, isn't it? Now number, period, then number 1, comma, then the year, Jan. We can use short form, Jan 2003, comma, page number, PP, page number, then period in page numbers. Okay, if continuing page number 193 to 200. A book with 2 authors means what we will do, and we will put a and here, and we will connect, and here, and we will connect. And index citation, then 2 authors second name connected with an and page number. Then a book with 3 or more. 3 or more means what we will do, the first author's name, second name, comma, the first author's first name, period, et al. We will use et al. And then the book name, then edition, with edition, it's come 6th edition, edition ed dot, okay, and the name of the publisher and date. Okay, inside citation, Wilkins et al. Period 95-96 page numbers. Okay. Then an unpublished dissertation in MLA 8, we will this name of the author, then period, then the title of the dissertation, then year, from which year, title of the dissertation, then the dissertation by city, University of New York, which university. So we will use dissertation by city, University of New York, comma 2003. Okay, so it's published. If the work is published, the same work is published means Kane, Sonia, then period, then the name of the work, okay, name of the dissertation, and the dissertation by the university 2003, and the publisher's name here, isn't it? Publisher's name Macmillan 2008. It's published. Okay, and a PowerPoint presentation. We wish to document a PowerPoint presentation means first author's last name, first name, then presentation title, lecture, location of lecture, month, day, year. We need these things. Okay, lecture, location of lecture, month, day, and year. Oh, Park, comma, Lisa, full stop, then effective working terms, lecture, the Plaza Hotel, New York, January 11, 2018. Okay, then an interview. Goldman Nathan interview, New York Times, 10 October 1991, late edition, C25. Okay, there is an interview in published in New York Times in 10 October 1991. Okay, so interview, and if it's interviewed by, so we'll say else, interviewed by Ted Koppel in a Nightline ABC full stop, then ABC WBC comma New York dot 18 April 2002. Okay, so if interview is not interviewed by, it is in a newspaper. Newspaper means interview, and it's in some other magazine or something like interviewed by. Okay, interviewed by. Then email. If you are writing some letters to writing some mail to our author, and he will give some suggestions, and we want to include that in our dissertation, we will write Boyle, then Boyle Anthony T. So Boyle, comma Anthony T, full stop, then the name of the mail. Okay, so we will write subject, isn't it? In the mail we will write subject, so that read Utopia. So in that that's our full stop must be inside the quotation mark. Okay, received by Daniel J. 12 and date 21 June 1997. Okay, then a letter. Hannah James sent a letter. Okay, so letter to the author. Who's the author? And the full stop must be inside, and received by, we must write received by John Charles on 5 April 2008. Okay, and legal source. We are quoting some legal. Okay, legal, some feminist studies. We are taking some legal documentation. It's 17 USC session 304.2000. Okay, it's 2000. Previously we are writing here when comma performed by. So we are using performed by. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a television serial and created by and performed by and in 1997 to 2003. Okay, if we are quoting a television serial, full television serial, so we are writing like this. In an episode means what we will write. So afterwards, no need of this hush, a single episode. Okay, single episode, double inverter, single episode, and then put a period. And Buffy the Vampire in italics, we went italize it, and created by and performed by, and the session 4, episode 10, mutual enemy in 1999. Okay. Then the next one is some more other piece of music. Beyonce, Dawn, and the Pretty Hunts, period. Then Beyonce, comma. Then Parkwood Entertainment in 2003. Okay, it is, if you are taking it from a website, we must add the website details to their URL details. Okay, television show or streaming platform. Television show or streaming platform. What we will do? A fish out of the water. Okay, is the title. Okay, title. Then full stop. Then Family Guy, comma. Season 3, episode 10, Fox Broadcasting Company, 19 September 2001. Hulu. It's also from this www.hulu.url. We are adding the URL. So CD or DVD disc number. Okay, if you need a CD, if you are documenting a CD, the same thing. Hirsch, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the complete 4-season period, then created by and performed by, and episode 10 VB Television Network 2003 disc 3. It's there are 4 or 5 or 6 10 discs, and we only cite disc 3. Okay, and a film. Now we are using the media studies, isn't it? We are researching in media studies. So film like Water for Chocolate, the screenplay by Laura Iswell and directed by Alfonso Orr and performed by Lumi. Okay, if in a film we must sometimes we are writing about the Lumi Cavazos performance. Okay, performance. So we must write all the things, all the details of a movie, and from where it's which company. Okay, Miramax in 1993. Okay, then a work of art. If you are in a work of art, then a Burn Romeo, the train. In this, look it, it's colon, it's full stop, then the train. Please, the train in italics. Okay, here I not in italics in 1975, and it's from Museum of Modern Art. This art form is from Museum of Modern Art, New York. Okay, so then manuscript. One manuscript, we want to cite one manuscript. Chaucer, Geoffrey Chaucer, comma Geoffrey full stop, the Canterbury Tales, Zural in 1410 to British Library, London, Hallis MS 1774. It is in rack. Okay, if you are putting in a rack, his manuscript in a rack, and rack number is 7334. Okay, 7334. And a performance. If a performance we want to cite, so Atwood, Margaret Atwood's one performance we want to cite. Atwood, comma Margaret, the Silence, the Scene, a Boundaries of Imagination Forum, MLA Annual Convention. So it is in MLA Annual Convention, and 29 December 1993 in Royal York Hotel, Toronto. And the date of original publication. The date of original publication, if you need to the date of original publication, if you know, we must add it. Okay, Franklin Benjamin, Emigration to America, then full stop, then unquote, in 1782. It's originally published. Okay, original published. The Faber Books of America, edited by Christopher Rick and Williams L. Vance. Faber and Faber in 1992, page number 2426. Okay, date of original publication. Then city of publication. Sometimes we are adding, previously we are adding city of publication in MLA 7, isn't it? So in MLA 8 we are not using city of publication, but we must use city of publication. When book published before 1900, we may give city of publication in the place of publisher's name. Okay, in before 1900, we must say before 1900, we must we may give the city of publication in the place of publisher's name. Gothe, John, Wang Hong, or Wong, and Conversation of Gothe, with Ekma and Azore, translated by John Oxenford in New Edition, London in 1875. Okay, then we want to cite the websites. Okay, how we will cite? With one author. With one author, how we cite the website? Author's last name, then first name, the title or individual page, the title of the website, name of the publisher, comma, date of the publication in date, month, year format. Day, month, year format, comma, URL or web address. These things we need to cite a website. Okay, author's last name, then first name, then in inverters, title of the article or individual page, or title of the website, name of the publisher, date of the publication in day, month, year format, URL or web address. Okay, so you can go through this. Magner, comma, Dave, then title of the work, then title of the work, title of the website, and date. Okay, date and URL address. Okay, previously we will write the access date, isn't it? Now no need of access date. Okay, no need of access date in ordinary writing. So with two authors and with three authors. Okay, with two authors we will write what? And. Okay, we will connect it with and. Three authors, et al. Then website with no author. So if website with no author means we will add the title of the web page, then title of website, the publisher, date of published in day, month, year format, and URL. Then an ebook for my database. Then ebook, we are adding some ebooks. Now we are adding only ebooks, isn't it? So ebooks, that ebooks, when in which way? The same way we are adding ebooks to. Okay, ebooks and URL of ebooks. If you are documenting in inside documentation, so what we will do? We will document with and. We will connect with and the second name of the first author and the second author with the page numbers. Okay, page numbers. So then date of access. Sometimes we need date of access. Date of access is especially crucial if the source provide no data specified, date specifying when it was produced or published. Okay, if it's not produced, there is no date, it is uploaded, we must write the date of access the date. Okay, under the gun petty list, comma, season 4 episode 6 ABC family Hulu. Okay, we must write like this. And a website without a formal title. There is no formal title when citing a web page that does not include a formal title. Is acceptable to include a description of the page. Do not place the description in an italics or question mark. Okay, general information on the New York Mets. Okay, like that we will add. Okay, so then DOI, if a digital object identifier is there, it's more valuable than URL, isn't it? So we must add that DOI, project muse DOI, like the same way. Okay, so Chan, comma, events, full stop, then in quotation mark, what we did, the title of the work, then Postmodern Culture, volume 10, number 3, May 2000, and Project Muse. Okay, Project Muse. And we must add the date of access. If sometimes we must collect the date of access too. If when we are writing when we are in the last stage of documentation, that site is not available in internet, we will document the access date too. Next, work citation in social media. Okay, because our Catherine, isn't it? Catherine, Associate Executive of Modern, MLA, she told that MLA 8 they developed because of this website, social media. Okay, new social media. How to cite this new social media? Twitter. How to cite? @Twitter handle dot content of tweet. Okay, content of tweet. Then full stop, then unquote, and Twitter, like Twitter, comma, day, month, year, and timestamp and URL. Okay, so this is Lynn Manuel dot then in inverters, good morning from a sky still. Okay, name of the title, and then whispering, I'm still here, it is never that work, and Twitter. Okay, we will write Twitter in italize, we will italize the Twitter, and then 22 June 2018 7:21 a.m. Okay, it is tweet in 22nd June 2018 7:21 a.m. then URL. Okay, then Instagram account holder's name, Instagram account holder's name, then photo title or description, and Instagram. Then we will put Instagram, other contributors, date, photo was published in the day, month, year format, and URL. Okay, then @ Nago and path of the panther, Instagram, photographed by Calton Ward in 16 June 2018, comma, then URL. Okay, then Facebook, author's last name, first name of the account name, and description of the post, Facebook, comma, date, month, year of the post, and timestamp, URL. Optional, accessed day, month, year. In Facebook, we must put the accessed date, month, and year. In YouTube video, the title of the YouTube video, then we will code YouTube uploaded by the person who is uploaded, and then 28 December, date of uploaded, comma, and the URL. Okay, then social media and website comments. If some website comments are there, so we want to document the website comment, so use the username and commenter's name as the author's name, and comment on the title, publisher, day, month, year, time, and URL. Okay, that Wester Gay comment on climate reality and I are headed at Berlin this June to train leader who want to help solve the climate crisis. In Facebook, 2nd May 2018, isn't it? So the address is also there, URL address. It's optional. URL address we must write there, not it's optional only. Okay, and the blog we will write this Gene comment on blog, we will comment on. So some books we are taking from the blog, so we are using the comment on, or we are using the from, book from, and like that comment on, Jane, comment on the reading, the brain, difference between digital and print, so many books, 25 April 2003 10:30 p.m. Okay, in a blog we are doing like this, and the address, URL address we are adding. Okay, the next one, other contributors. Previously we are using translator, trans dot, isn't it, trans dot, but in MLA 8, translated by and edited by and created by, directed by, introduced by, illustrated by, screenplay by, directed by, performed by. So we are using the other contributors in this way: the translated by, edited by, created by. So previously trans, okay, trans. Now it's a full word, okay, translated by. Then the last session, the margins. After, when this is the format, okay, this is the format. So format, first one is, so title and affiliations, abstract keywords, introduction, literary review, research gap, major research question, hypothesis, and methodology, finding and discussion, conclusion, and reference. So the title, affiliations, abstract, keywords. Okay, so for this we need a margin, isn't it? Margins for that. 1 inch at the top for a general this paper, this article. So 1 inch at the top, bottom, and on both sides of the text. And then page number, the upper right, ½ inch down. Okay, then indent the first word of a paragraph. Then we will write this affiliation. Then the next one, abstract, isn't it? Abstract. They indent the first word of the paragraph, 1 inch from the left margin for the body. Okay, body. Intent set of questions on each from the left margin. Okay, quotations left margin we must intent, and use readable typeface. Okay, standard size Times New Roman 12 point for this for this body, and the heading it is 14 point Times New Roman. Okay, and set double space. Some journals prefer single space, so we will write like that. In some journals it's double space. Okay, and after that we must check plagiarism. Plagiarism we must check in so many plagiarism checkers are there, and most of the journals in Elsevier Scopus journals it is below 10%, 10 to 20. I think that some Elsevier journals is allowing up to 20%, and some journals. Okay, then verify that after preparing, we must verify the target journal in indexed in ISI, Web Science Scopus, and UGC Careless too. So how we will get a Scopus journal? So we will directly, Scopus is from Elsevier, so we will directly move to Elsevier site, and we can there is an option we can upload our abstract, and it will show some journals which is suitable for our paper abstract. Okay, so Scopus Scopus.com we can check. Okay, if we are having some doubt, if now so many fake journals are there, so if you wish to we wish to know it's real or fake, so we can search in scopus.com, and then for web of science, then http:/mjv.clarivate.com. okay, we can search there, and UGC Careless, UGCCare.Pune University, isn't it? University of Pune.ac.in. We can see, we can check UGC Careless or Web Science or Scopus journals. Okay, thank you very much.